warm summer night in Placerville, California, June 12th, 1984. 14-year-old Denise Galston is walking home from downtown, heading back to her foster home. She's just had a run-in with the police. Nothing serious, just teenage stuff. A car pulls up beside her. Inside is someone she knows from around town, Michael Cox. He's 28, works in the forest, has a car, and he's offering her a ride. Maybe she's tired. Maybe she just wants to get home. She knows this guy, so she gets in the car. Within hours, Denise Galston will be dead, stabbed in the throat and left in the Eldorado National Forest. But she won't be the last. Today we're examining the case of Michael Anthony Cox, a man the media dubbed the Forest Killer.
Welcome to Crisis and Consequences, a true crime podcast with a purpose. We dive into murder stories and the complicated humans behind them, blending storytelling, dark humor, and real conversation. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast contains dark, troubling, and explicit content.
So, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
Carapace already bummed out.
I am.
I will tell you, there have been times when I haven't been able to, it's one thing researching and writing details of a story, and then another thing to speak them.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I couldn't speak things.
Yeah.
I started researching one yesterday, and I could not.
Yeah.
And I got home, and my husband could tell I was, disturbed, and I said, do you know of, and I named him, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, do you know what he did? And he's like, kind of.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I have never seen, we've talked about some heinous crimes. I couldn't. I took him out of my future research list. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. And I will say the guy's in prison. And there should be a special prison. There should be a special prison for people that can do these types of things to babies.
But that's where for me, I think when I hear, and I don't even know who you're talking about. I don't want to know who you're talking about.
I won't name him. He's an
yeah.
egomaniac, so he's not getting a name.
But it's kind of one of those things where when I hear the awful things that people do, especially when it involves children, innocent children, but really even young women or anybody for that matter, the complete disregard for human life.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so evil.
They're toys.
That it's are you even human? You can't be. It's just,
No, or just so damaged. My mind, when I was on the little bit of research I did on this one that I had to stop, I'm immediately thinking what? Something happened to this guy.
Yeah.
There's no way he just woke up one day and is like, I think I'm going to do these things.
Yeah.
I can't even make myself say it. It's just so.
And I think oftentimes that is the case where people, it's that hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes psychos are just born for whatever reason too. Oh.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're starting on a downer. This is Crisis and Consequences. If you're tuning in for the first time, podcast with a purpose.
Yes.
Where for some reason we tell really heinous stories, and all the support we get from all of you goes to helping fund real life transformations from people escaping their own crises and tragedies. So I'm Charity.
I'm KB.
And we're back for more.
Do you have any crisis that you're going through this week?
Kind of a therapy crisis, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not a crisis yet, but we started kind of chipping at the surface of the whole
Family
upbringing
history.
parent iceberg. So, yeah, that's been fun. So anyway, how about you?
Well, I kind of told you about this before we started the podcast, but so we live on, some acreage, and so it's hobby ranch, hobby farm, whatever you want to call it.
Homestead.
A homestead. And so anyways, we've got barn cats, and a lot of people who live out in the country who have barn cats, to each their own, but they don't love their barn cats.
They're
there to do a
animals.
job. Mm-hmm. They're like feral cats that just hang around. And
but do you feed yours?
Oh yeah.
And
So
do
like
you
ours
pet
are not
yours
that.
and you
Yeah.
love yours and you tuck them
so
into
ours,
bed at night.
ours do a really good job of keeping
they're
all the
pets.
critters. Yeah.
They're pets that live in your barn.
They are pets that live and work in and around our property.
Yeah.
And so every night every day we feed them. Every day we make sure they have water, you know. They are all spayed and neutered. Every night we put them away just for their safekeeping. Keep them safe, you know. They can do their other work during the day. So anyway, we love them, and we do. We hang out with them. We pet them. They're just all the sweetest. Like if you come over, they're gonna greet you. You know, they roll over and let you kind of pet their bellies, whatever. Well, Higgins, which is our newest guy to the bunch, when we got him, gosh, I feel like it's been like 4 months ago or so, maybe. I don't even know so we got him, and he had been starving for a long time. This poor cat was skin and bones. Beautiful gray cat with bright green eyes.
That sounds like my friend Lynda's cat.
Yeah, just so sweet. And he was so hungry. And so I just thought, I didn't even know if he was going to make it. Anyway, spoiler alert, he made it. He's thriving, doing all the things. He fits right in. Him and Bash, who is our other adopted, a cat that just kind of landed in our lap. They hang out together all the time. These two boys are so sweet. And, but last night, Brent started up his truck, and for some reason, Higgins was under the hood or somewhere in and around. And so Brent heard
Curiosity killed the cat came from somewhere.
so
he didn't die.
He did not die.
Yeah.
But, and that's the thing is it's like, so Brent calls us and tells us, you know, this is what happened. And he took off running. So I'm assuming he's okay, but I'm not quite sure. And I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, we're at church, you know, ready for youth group. And I'm like, we'll just have to take a look at him when we get home. Part of me wants to turn around and go.
Run, yeah.
But I can't. And,
Emergency.
yeah. So anyway, we get home and we find him, and he's just kind of sitting on a hay bale and sweet as can be. And he you know, his little mouth is kind of bloody, and you can tell like a couple of his teeth are not there anymore. But all in all, he looks kind of okay.
Yeah.
Like his body looks okay. He is limping a little bit. So I think one of his legs is hurt. I'm not sure yet if it's, but it's so much to handle. Like, because I just want to fix him and I don't want him in pain. And, but that's my crisis. And this is the thing, like when you care for any animal.
About life, yeah.
Yeah. It's like I, even if it's a goldfish, for Pete's sake, like I will cry about it.
Fish have feelings. I don't believe Nirvana at all saying fish don't have any feelings.
I know, but
Don't believe them.
Anyway, so yeah, there were a lot of tears last night.
I was a vegetarian for so long. I still struggle. I will go. Yes,
I believe it.
I was a vegetarian for like 13 years, and for me, health-wise, I just wasn't the healthiest. So I needed to start diversifying my diet. But I still have these philosophical and spiritual moments and crises when I struggle eating animal protein.
I get that.
Like if I can't hunt it myself, I shouldn't be consuming it, but then my body needs it. And so I have this constant war and it sucks.
Yeah, it does. Well, and Brent kind of
Even cows, I think cows
he'll
are
say,
cute.
"Oh, you could never be a rancher's wife." And I said, "Well, good thing I'm not." But
did you ever say, "Well, you could never be a rancher"?
I do.
Sling.
Well, don't you
Back
start
at
with
ya.
me. But you know, it's one of those things where that doesn't. I think that there probably are some ranchers' wives that still cry over every little baby calf that's born that doesn't make it. You know, and maybe
You see them. Have you seen calves frolicking?
yes. Oh yeah. But that's the thing is where I'm like, sometimes that stuff happens. And I know that that's part of life, right? It is part of life. Accidents happen. Animals die, you know, but I'm going to cry every time. Like, I don't have to stay crying forever. Like, I'm going to get over it, but I am going to cry. I'm okay with that because I have a big heart.
You are not a sociopath. You're not going to become a sociopath. It's not a disease you can contract.
Thank goodness.
You are safe. Now, this mother flipper,
This guy,
he is absolutely a psychopath.
what was his name? Cox?
Michael Cox. Michael Anthony Cox.
Put in the tissue bag because I have a feeling I'm not going to cry about him.
I know you're not going to cry about him, but this is a really interesting story. No idea how this came on my radar, but It did, and I'm kind of familiar with the area because you've heard Terry on our show. Terry, my friend, when she was talking about squatters. She lives in Porterville, and it's all kind of in the same area. So just kind of like, I'm gonna read this one and pay attention to it, and then started looking into it. Hadn't heard about it, but there's a lot of lessons to be gleaned from this one.
Yeah,
which is one of the things that we obviously like. So,
I guess let's do it.
It's a little bit removed from us now, time-wise, so maybe that'll give you a little...
It always does.
Okay.
It always kind of gives me a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
However, some of them are so horrific that it's like it didn't matter when it happened. It's just...
Well, that one I was telling you about earlier that I won't even like give details about was not only the most horrible thing I've ever come across, but also really recent.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, and you and I have talked about... Well, we're going to go down another rabbit hole. I'll quit. We can't talk about this, but I'm just going to mention it. Like AI and the things that people are doing, like in the internet realms, like the icky things people are doing.
Oh, yeah.
And like almost training their brains. It's like they're rewiring. I just feel like there's this, I don't know, like we're just headed into a really, I don't know, things are just getting worse, full speed ahead, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Tell me about this jerk.
Well, you won't ever become an emotionless robot. That's for sure. Neither will I. So I think we're safe. Yeah. Probably our listeners are safe too. Okay. So Placerville, California. This is in the Sierra Nevada foothills. It's about 45 miles east of Sacramento, California. So 1984. It's kind of a small town. Mm-hmm. A kind of place where like the gold rush, that's what it became known for, kind of left its mark. Everything's still kind of frozen in time. People still congregate at like local landmarks at this time. I'm in the heart of downtown. So just kind of a, closer knit small town. And it's surrounded by the Eldorado National Forest. So there's like hundreds of thousands of acres of pine trees and like logging roads and just wilderness. It's very beautiful. People love it. They love to hike and play and all the things.
I'm picturing kind of like Deadwood-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the Black Hills National Forest.
It's bigger.
And,
but for someone like a predator, like in our story, the big forest is a big burial ground. It's a big playground, right? So May of 1984, a woman named Nona Chapman was running a foster home for teenage girls in Placerville. God bless her. I mean, these obviously weren't kids from stable homes. Mm-hmm. They were kids in the system. Some had just run away. Some had been removed from dangerous situations and just needed a place to land. Among the residents there that spring were two 14-year-old twin girls, Denise and Debbie Galston, and they were 2/3 of a set of triplets that were at this home. And they'd moved into foster care just weeks apart that May. Also, there was a 17-year-old girl named Joanna Napolitano and 17-year-old Darlene, and they didn't give her last name. So these girls had something in common beyond just being all at the same foster home. They'd all had some type of encounter by the thug of our story named Michael Cox. So Michael Anthony Cox was born in May of 56, so he's my mama's age, Monterey County, California. He was the oldest of 7 children. His biological father left before he was born, and his mother later married a man named Forrest Jayne, Jayne. So Cox's childhood, there was some trauma there. His stepfather, for instance, was suspected of molesting him. In 1969, Jane Forrest, it's just weird because
it's both weird.
Yeah. So the stepdad, I guess, drugged and molested a young boy in their neighborhood, an incident that forced the family to move to try to avoid his prosecution. And then later during a snowstorm, the stepdad accidentally drove the family car off a cliff. I don't know how you accidentally do that, unless
you're drunk.
Well, or something. But so Michael then was a teenager. He pulled his mother and one of his younger brothers from the wreckage, like he saved them. His mother was hospitalized with broken ribs, and while she was recovering from her injuries, Michael was taking care of his siblings. He also suffered, Michael did, from epilepsy, and he struggled with alcohol addiction. And you see
like a terrible mix.
You see that a lot, like being in a larger family like that, and having to take on that parental role. You see that a lot. After graduating from Eldorado High School, where he'd worked as a student aide in the library, he found work with a youth forestry conservation crew. So then he learned the lay of the land, and kind of these became his stomping grounds. And it was through this work that he became acquainted with all the local teenagers, including Denise and Debbie Galston. So his intentions with these girls wasn't mentorship, it wasn't friendship. They were, he wanted to explore something darker. Mm-hmm. So witnesses would later testify that he had a habit of verbally degrading young women. Like he would just drive by a group of teenage girls and yell
like just
sluts and just nasty things. Yeah, like just he had really bad names for them, and he'd do this to their faces. One witness later, her name was Lynn, she testified that he drove past a group that included the victims that I'm going to talk about, and were shouting like vulgar sexual references and calling them just the awful things. So then that's back in the day when slut was used a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of times not fairly. And this wasn't just crude talk. It was like a glimpse or like a window into how he thought of girls and women, just like far less than human, like disposable.
Yeah.
It really showed that. But back then, it probably wasn't sending off the warning flags like it would now, especially with as much as we listen to these stories and we learn from these things. So people were maybe on guard, but not on guard enough yet.
Yeah. Well, and I just think about the history of, for the longest time, women were not equal. We were like, you know what I mean? Like there was not equality there, and men were superior. And
well, they're still not.
Yeah. And so, but that was like just the way of.
Well, you even think of just like the term, the slut connotation, right? A guy can go out and bang as many women as he wants or people, and
no one says anything about him.
He's just cool.
He's cool. He's pimp. Whatever.
The girl does it.
Yeah, she's nasty.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
That's not fair.
It's not fair.
You know what?
I know. It's
sometimes women like sex too. Weird. I don't know. Just a thought. Newsflash. Anyway, according to testimony, Cox told Darlene something chilling. They were driving past the foster home when they saw Denise. So she's outside smoking a cigarette. He told Darlene that 3 would be eliminated from the foster home and then 3 more.
Ooh, I don't like that at all.
Isn't that like...
That's creepy.
Also, like, poetic.
Yeah. It is a little poetic. But
narrating his own something, but eliminated? That's also an interesting choice of words, right? So at the time, Darlene just didn't really know what to make of it, but later she'd realize he was thinking out loud and broadcasting his plans to her. So the evening of June 12th, 1984, basic summer night in Placerville. So Joanna, she goes to a church parking lot to drink, as you do. I've done that. Later,
that's funny.
She headed downtown where she saw a 27-year-old Michael Cox sitting in his car. He offers to take her to a party that was said to have been going on. And instead, when she got into his car, he takes her to a city park. Once there, he makes a move on her, advancing on her, grabbing her breast. If there are guys watching or listening to this that just
don't do that,
reach out and grab a woman's breast, newsflash, that is not going to get you anywhere. They are not going to swoon over you.
That.
Don't do it. So she's repulsed, she's scared, she gets out of the car, she runs from the park, and she makes her way back to that downtown area hangout spot where all her friends were. So she gets there, she sees Denise Galston. At the time, Denise is arguing with police officers, like nothing serious, but just like a teenage clash with authority that happens in small towns. So Joanna pulls Denise aside after she's done chewing the cup out and tells her this just happened, like what Michael had just done to her. And then Joanna watches as Denise, a little bit later, walks under an overpass heading in the direction of the foster home. Cox pulls up in his car, and there she's a ways away now, offers Denise a ride, presumably to the same party that he tried to lure Joanna to. And despite what her friend had just told her, she got in the car. So Denise is in the car, and then he does something curious. Like he circles back to where Joanna still is downtown. And, she flips him off. He still approaches her, attempting to convince her to get into his car. She's very reluctant, considering his uninvited advances earlier,
Right.
grabbing her boob, right? But she still gets in, and I don't know if she was thinking maybe there's like safety in numbers. Denise is in there. Maybe this is like, I know what he did to me. If I'm here, maybe he won't hurt
Yeah.
either one of us. One can only speculate. But here's where accounts vary. So some say he took them to an underpass and he forced both girls out at knife point. Other sources say he'd driven them to a remote area and that Joanna had him stop so she could get out and pee. She walked about 100 yards away from the car where she vomited, presumably from all the alcohol she was drinking in the church parking lot, cleans herself up the best she could in a nearby trickle of a stream, and then she hears Denise screaming her name. And she heads in that direction. There's just a little bit of moonlight going on. And she witnesses Denise running nude, hands tied behind her back, and Cox is chasing her with a knife. So he catches Denise, he shoves her to the ground, he puts a knife to her throat, and he stabs her. And Joanna freaks out and runs away while Denise is still screaming. Figuring she was next, she flags down a passing car. Teams is flashing on my screen now. Okay. She flags down a passing car, but she didn't tell authorities or anyone else for that matter what she'd witnessed. Hey, yeah, and I knew you were going to do that because she had just watched her friend, a 14-year-old girl, maybe be
Get
murdered
and
in front of
possibly
her.
raped or
yeah.
what?
And then she escaped. She was safe, but like she didn't go to the police. And so why?
No shit. Why?
Well, I mean, she's
We'll never
17
know.
years old. She was terrified. She's living in a foster home. The things that got her into this foster home weren't good. They already didn't have a respect for authority or a trust factor with authority. So there's just this like domino effect of, I don't know, she didn't feel safe. She was terrified.
Yeah.
Maybe she was afraid the police would think she was involved. Maybe she was afraid Cox would come after her.
I'd still be afraid Cox would come after me if.
Yeah, but maybe that's why she
Regardless.
kept her mouth shut.
I'd still be afraid.
Don't
I mean,
tempt fate. I don't know. And Michael drives Denise Galston's body up into the forest, and he hides her in a remote area. So 17 days go by. God dang it. Sorry.
All that crying.
So 17 days go by. Then on June 28th of 84, Michael Cox walks into a club in downtown Placerville. There he meets 18-year-old Lynda Burrill. He convinces her to accompany him to the parking lot because that's the hip place to hang out in Placerville.
Where you do the necking.
Woohoo! Once there, he kidnapped her. He didn't try to woo her or charm her. He kidnaps her. He drives her to a secluded location, and he stabs her to death. Unprovoked. Just does it. And then he disposes of her body also in the forest. Now he's gaining confidence.
Yeah,
He's
that
got
was
a couple
easy.
notches on his belt. Bodies start turning up.
Well, and then I also think too. See, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
That's
but
okay.
like, so going back to the first two girls. So he kills the one, disposes of her body. The other one doesn't say a stinking thing, so there's no consequences here.
Right.
So yeah, he's thinking he can just get away with it.
Yep. Cocky.
Yep.
Cocky Mr. Cox. July 31st, a logging crew discovers partial remains in the forest. This ended up being Denise. 5 days later, on August 4th, Lynda Burrill's body was found. So the community is starting to panic. There's 2 teenage girls, both dead, both left in the forest. Investigators were pretty sure it was a single killer, but they didn't know who it was because,
Right.
yeah. So August 8th, 14-year-old Debbie Galston, who was Denise's twin sister, the two now of the set of triplets, disappeared while walking to a party. He kidnapped her, he murdered her, he disposed of her body near an oiled rig location also in the forest. And you got to think about what that had to be like for the rest of the girls in this foster home. Like,
Super.
Joanne had already watched, now she knows, Denise die because she never showed up again, right? For Darlene, for the other girls, Debbie's twin sister was already dead, and now Debbie was gone too. And then 2 days later, on August 10th, Joanna was walking through the Eldorado National Forest when she found some of Debbie's clothing. And she led Deputy Sheriff Paul Odlin to a spot the locals called the Bridge to Nowhere. So Sheriff later notes that Joanna was shaking, nervous with tears in her eyes. She kept saying that she hoped they'd find Debbie. But she still didn't tell anyone that she'd witnessed Denise's murder. She's terrified. it would
I'm like,
take...
you can catch the guy. Like, he's doing all of this stuff. You can say...
Back in the 80s, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think of like
I'd be scared
early
if it was,
90s.
I'd be scared if it was another cop, but I'm thinking it's this young guy, right? Who's
27. I mean, that's still quite a difference in age.
Yeah, but he's not, like, what power does he have? Other than he's killing people. But I'm like, if you can tell the cops who can stop him.
Yeah, but are they going to protect you? Are they
hope-
going to put you into protective custody? Probably not. This is middle of nowhere, California. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like you're safe.
And then you gotta
you're
think,
safe.
too,
You're
like,
not safe either way.
I'm not saying that you probably have been sexually molested and abused if you're in a foster home. I'm not saying that. But it is a possibility that her personal history involves some type of, you know, abuse from a male in some fashion, and like
So she's just not processing.
terrified. Yeah. So it would take another 2.5 months before she finally mustered the courage to tell what she knew. So this was around August 12th, 4 days after Debbie Galston disappeared. A Placer County police officer found Michael Cox asleep in his car. Officer sees a gun sticking out from under the driver's seat, and it was a fully loaded .357 caliber Smith & Wesson. And in the back, the officer found handcuffs. In the trunk, he found a knife. And so Cox was interviewed twice as a possible suspect in these murders, and both times he denied any involvement. But meanwhile, he was doing something strange. So in mid-September, just over a month after Debbie's disappearance, he married Darlene, the 17-year-old that we started talking about first from the foster home. And prosecutors would later argue that it was about control, that's why he did that. If Darlene was his wife, she'd be less likely to testify against him because back then, like, you couldn't, So he could keep her close, he could keep her quiet. Marriage didn't last. Less than 2 months later, in early November, he left Darlene for another woman. And then on November 9th, something shifted. Joanna and Darlene both went to the sheriff's station together, and they told their stories finally. And the next day, November 10th of 84, he was arrested. So she'd finally come forward. She tells them what she had seen on June 12th and how Cox had forced her and Denise out of the car at knife point, how he'd stabbed Denise in the throat, and how she'd run away. But critically, she was able to lead investigators to the exact location where Denise had been murdered. And during the trial, she went with Sergeant Wilson to an area called the Four Corners, taking them to where Denise's remains actually had been found. That's how they knew. She knew what she was talking about. And when they arrived at the spot, she said, you know, this is it. And she breaks down crying. And she knew details of that scene that only a witness or the killer would know. And so they believed her. Darlene also testified. She said that a day or two after Debbie disappeared, she was cleaning Cox's car at an Exxon station when she found a unicorn keychain, and she recognized it as belonging to Debbie or maybe Denise. Right. And she claimed that Cox told her to put it back into Debbie's belongings because she still lived there, right? Yeah. So Darlene also testified that Cox had confessed to the murders, giving her details about how he had killed the girls. But there was a problem with her testimony. Darlene kept changing her story. So she first said that Cox, that he stabbed Denise in the stomach, and then later she said it was in the chest, and then another time it was the neck, right? She said that he tied Denise's feet, but when confronted with the fact that Denise had run, she immediately backtracked and said he didn't have time to tie her feet. Years later, it would come out that Denise had fabricated his confession. Darlene had fabricated his confession, and a court referee would find that she'd been under, quote, undue pressure from law enforcement, end quote, to provide incriminating details.
I feel like that is easy to happen because it's like when they're trying to press you for things. And our brains, I mean, that's a proven fact. Yeah. That our brains, even though we think that we remember stuff just exactly, it's not exactly. Like our brain fabricates little things in there that are not true.
So, unfortunately, even without the confession, or fortunately, rather, the other parts of her testimony, like the details, right? Those were deemed credible. So they still used her. So he ended up being indicted on 3 counts of murder on November 14th of 84. He pleaded not guilty in January of 85, and his trial took place the following July. The jury saw through his bullshit, and they found him guilty on all counts. And during the penalty phase, his lawyers tried to save him from the death penalty by arguing that he'd had a troubled childhood, which he had, but get help then, right?
Yeah.
That he'd been molested, that his stepfather was a predator, that he'd have epilepsy and suffered from an addiction, but the jury wasn't swayed. So he ended up being sentenced to death for the murders of Denise Galston, Debbie Galston, and Lynda Burrill. And he's still on death row nearly 40 years later. Moves really slowly. But even after this conviction, the case was not over. Okay? So 7 years after the trial, Joanna did something shocking. She recanted her testimony. She told investigators she'd lied about witnessing the murder. She said she felt pressure, whether from herself or from law enforcement, to say something significant. And it threw the case into chaos.
Why did she do that?
Well, just wait. So investigators dug deeper. They looked at her knowledge of the crime scene, her ability to lead police to the exact spot where Denise had died, and the emotional breakdown when she had arrived. A court referee ultimately concluded that her original trial testimony about witnessing the murder had to be true. The recantation was the lie, driven maybe by guilt or by trauma, maybe by the weight of what she'd witnessed. She'd lied about how she'd gotten back to Placerville after the murder, but at the core of the testimony, they believed she did indeed watch Michael Cox stab Denise Galston to death. That was real. So her story raises these questions like you said, what if she'd come forward on the night that it happened? What if she'd gone to the police right away instead of staying silent? Would Lynda and Debbie still be alive? Right. Obviously, we don't know. She was 17. She didn't trust the system. And the man who'd just murdered her friend was still out there. He targeted girls he just saw as beneath him. He called them derogatory names. He said people, they should be eliminated. And so when he had the chance, he eliminated them. And I don't know. I wish again.
It's weird. It makes me wonder if, she was, was she compliant in it? Did she... Because that's my other thing. I'm like, okay, so if I'm a killer and I kill this person and I know that you saw it, regardless of whether you speak or not, I'm coming after you, right? To keep you shut up. Unless there was some type of an agreement. Unless...
Would they consider that being complicit? I don't know. Maybe we should bring Laura in and ask her.
Yeah. I'm curious, if that's
there's
part of where her head
obstruction
went
of justice, when you're withholding information.
Yeah, but
you're also 17 years old, and your brain's not developed, and your brain's been traumatized, and...
Yeah, I can see all kinds of spin-off here, but I'm just kind of that's what I'm saying. Even if she goes to the cops, I see where it's danger, danger. Don't go to the cops, danger, danger. Unless, because then I'm even after he does the second one. So she's witnessed one, she knows what he's doing, then another one, then another one. How do you sleep at night?
Or she hears the other one's going to marry him.
Yeah, do you see what I'm there's so many things where I'm and then to go back all those years later and be never mind, I was just kidding. I didn't witness, I wasn't.
I think it's more indicative of severe mental distress and processing things out loud and needing something to go away. If I go out and I change the narrative, maybe this will go away and I won't be tormented anymore.
So you're thinking when she's never mind, I take it back, I wasn't there.
If
she's thinking she can just verbally delete it.
Kinda.
It'll take her out of the equation. Yeah. Maybe.
Mental health back then, support wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that she had that type of support system. She's navigating life. I don't know what her personal history was and the trauma that she endured, but a lot of times, if it's the things I would suspect or would be typical, it does damage how your brain develops and how you process the world. And you can easily make a mountain out of a molehill or vice versa, hide something that's very, very serious and it's not logical. You and I are sitting here thinking, well, why didn't she do that? Why didn't she do that? Because we're completely online.
Yeah.
with our prefrontal cortex, and there's just no way she was. She's in crisis brain. We talk about that all the time here at One Heart. It's very difficult to make a rational, understanding cause and effect and making those decisions. You are literally right now in survival mode. And it's not that you're not capable. It's that part of your brain needed to do that thing is not firing. It is not online. Yeah. So, but there are some lessons, obviously trust your instincts. So Joanna got into his car twice on the same night. He assaulted her the first time, and then he murdered her friend the next time. So if someone touches you without consent, even go talk to the cops about that.
Yeah.
Don't just let that slide. They say degrading things. They give you a bad feeling. Don't give them a second chance. No. Another option, I'm not blaming here, but she could have told Denise, do not get in that car.
Yeah, get out of that car.
Girl, you're coming with me, right? Yeah. But so we just don't know.
See, but they were drinking, and so sometimes then that's a whole nother level of
impaired.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you're just not making good decisions at that point.
No, I remember one time because my husband's very logical, rational and grounded. I was on a ride along with him, and we were downtown here, and it's nighttime. We're driving around, and it's super kind of cold. It's fun though, and we're on Mount Rushmore Road, and he sees a car turn onto St. Joseph, and he immediately hits his lights and sirens and pulls the car over. And I'm like, "What the guy do?
Yeah,
what did he do? Why are you picking on him?" And he's like, "He didn't turn into the correct lane."
Oh, okay.
And normally people don't do it a lot, but during the night they're going to check and just make sure. And sure enough, the guy was drunk.
Yeah.
And so Tim is out doing some things. The guy's in the back of the car now. I'm in the car because I'm not going to stand outside when it's cold. And the guy, he's just like, I seriously thought I was okay. He's just, you could hear him kind of talking to himself.
Yeah.
And then when Tim finally gets in the car and the guy, I think he says something like that again, it was only 2 drinks. And he could not process that. And Tim goes, that's why they call it impaired. Yeah. And it was just this teachable moment of, oh, and I felt so sorry for him. Yeah. He didn't hurt anybody, thankfully, but it's protecting and serving, they got him off the road before he could potentially hurt anybody. Yep. All right. Second, do report what you see, even if it's scary. Try to find someone that you trust to go with you and support you so that if you feel like you're not going to be heard by law enforcement, if you can find somebody, an adult, somebody more influential, holds some kind of sway, maybe it'll carry a little bit more weight, and you'll have that feeling of safety in numbers, right? Even if you think they won't believe you, do your best to muster up the courage to say something, because it could save lives. Obviously, the third one is to use a buddy system. Denise was walking off alone. Debbie was walking to a party alone. Lynda left a club by herself with some guy that she just met. So traveling in groups, staying with friends, very, very, very important. Predators won't typically look to exploit you when you are with a group of people.
No, well,
even one other person.
I think too, being out at the bars and meeting this, maybe he's a good-looking guy. Maybe everybody has different standards there, but if a guy's yes, let's go home. I don't know.
You know what?
People need to try and be a little bit careful there, because it's how many women
we need to trademark this. I have a brilliant idea for an app.
Yeah,
we're gonna do this. I don't want to say it because someone is going to steal it. We're gonna do this. Okay. Ooh. Okay.
I'm excited to hear about it later.
This is exciting. Okay. So it's you can't do a test to figure out who a psychopath is, but I've got another idea. Okay. And finally, understand that predators will often target people that they don't think are going to be missed. Mm-hmm. So these girls from foster care, they didn't have parents in their lives, so clearly they're disposable, right? That's just the way they think. They're vulnerable, they're marginalized, they're whatever. So foster kids, runaways, sex workers, people experiencing homelessness. And so this piece of crap just saw these girls as less than human, and that's how he justified what he did. And we know here that nobody is disposable. Every life has value. And when we fail to protect the most vulnerable, we lose who we are, right? So today, Michael Cox sits on death row at San Quentin California has had a moratorium on executions since like 2019, so it's unlikely he's ever going to face the needle.
Yeah.
He's 68 years old now. He's been on death row for nearly 4 decades. Denise Galston was 14 when she died. Debbie Galston was 14. Lynda was 18. These girls should have had futures and families and careers and grandchildren. Instead, they were discarded by this man for nothing. We can't bring them back, obviously, but we can remember them and we can tell their stories, and we can do better at protecting vulnerable people. Like I think about, just the time I went running out of the office.
Oh, absolutely.
Down that, chased that guy down and got that girl to safety. I mean, broad freaking daylight in front of a police station. Yeah. And this guy,
but that's
I don't know what episode that was.
I don't know either, but that was one of those things where
I was terrified, but
you went with it and you saved her.
I had these shoes on too. It was these exact shoes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I ran down the sidewalk. Hey!
But that was you listening to
piece
your
of crap.
intuition,
Yeah.
You know?
So if you or someone you know is experiencing abuse or violence, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 1-800-656-HOPE. I'll make sure Kate puts these in the show notes as well.
Are you ready to re-enter the workforce or find a career that actually fits? Or maybe you're an employer, tired of noisy platforms that miss the mark? Try Focus, a smarter hiring tool that helps you cut through the noise and focus on what matters. Visit focus.work today. That's FOQUS.WORK.
What do you think you'd do, KB, if you witnessed a crime like this?
Well, I think we know what I would do. I mean, that's why I was like, how could you not? I mean, and that's easy for me to say in the moment, in the safety of this little room here. But yeah, I don't think that's why I was like, I couldn't sleep at night. It would bother. I would have to tell someone. And that's where even if I went in and they were like, whatever, you're just a, teenage girl. You don't know what the heck you're talking about. I think I would at least feel better knowing that I tried to be heard. I think I would absolutely tell my foster mom too, my foster parents. And that's a rocky road for some people too. I hope that, some people have great foster.
This was more like a group home, so less like a foster mom, but I'm sure there's a house mom or
somebody there that's in charge. And if they don't believe you, then go to the cops. I guess it's what if that was you?
Would you want someone to...
What if you were Denise or Debbie, Yeah. Or Lynda? Wouldn't you want somebody to say, something?
Yeah.
Because that's where I look back, and I think it would really eat at me, too, witnessing what happened to her friend and then leaving scared for probably your own life, because you should be. I mean, with what you witnessed, and he knows that. Scared to tell the cops, but then also hearing that 2 more girls have gone, that would eat at me. What if I would have said something right away? Maybe those other 2 gals would still be alive. I would have had to have said something.
Yeah, I think that speaks to her trying to recant earlier, because maybe if I made it up, I won't be blamed for this anymore.
Possibly.
Or blame myself for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things tied into that for her. So
have you ever found yourself alone in a situation, or were you good at using the buddy system? Or
I was really good at using the buddy system.
Really
yeah. I mean, I had but I did have
I was not.
I got roofied at a bar we were with a group of people, and out of all the drinks, he picked mine. Whoever he was.
Yeah.
And thankfully, and that's where it was. I think I've said this on here before, but we were out with a big group, and I will never forget that feeling. I'd never felt it before. I don't ever want to feel it again. It is a terrible feeling. And
it's unforgettable too.
I had two of our guy friends were there, and they were like, well, you're not taking her home. How do I know it wasn't you? How do I know it was you? And these are both really good guys that I not for a second would have think it was either one of them. But they both came home, got me home safe. They had to carry me out because that's how quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was my first drink of the night. I think I'd only had a couple sips of it.
Yep.
And before I knew it, I was in the bathroom because I wasn't feeling very good. And then guess whose legs weren't really working anymore?
That's exactly what happened.
And it
to
just
me.
kind of, it was the most awful feeling. And I remember seeing this guy, and he looked like Ken.
Like a porn
Like a
star.
Ken and Barbie. You
Like
know,
a
like a
Ken?
plaid shirt, like a
Really?
Ken, yeah. And he just kind of
Like
had his
a
hair combed off to the
preppy-
side. Yeah, like a preppy dude that was kind of over by our table. And that
Definitely
he had said
associated.
hello to us earlier in the night. And I remember
Wink.
seeing him on the way out just thinking, it was you. And I don't know that for sure. But even just saying that now, it just gives me the chills.
Well, when it happened to me, I'm literally sitting with my husband and the chief of police.
Oh, no.
And his
that's
wife.
Crazy.
And yeah, but it was that exact same series. Like all the, well, not all the, I don't drink a lot of drinks, but the drinks I'd had before, we were out there for hours. It was like this gorgeous spring day in March after a hard winter. And we just, so we're sitting out on the patio at this restaurant downtown and called them and said, hey, you want to come join us? And then, a couple margaritas in, weak house margaritas, right? And then this fancy drink comes, and I literally take a couple sips, and thank God that's all I took.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what happened. A couple sips, I didn't even finish the drink. I go to the bathroom, my legs don't work anymore. And I don't have my cell phone. I don't have anything. And it's in,
Super scary.
this is the old Que Pasa, and that one stall that's like this narrow, and you have to
You literally have to straddle the seat in order to close the door.
Yes, yep, that one. And I'm stuck in there, and my legs don't work. And I'm like, oh my God. And everything's like moving.
Woozy.
I can't believe no one like called 911 when they saw me finally make it out of the bathroom, because I'm literally, I'm like a sideways ladder holding onto the booths. There's people in the booths, but I'm
But
like,
they look at you like, oh my,
I'm
he's
having
had
to
one too many.
pull myself because my legs aren't working.
Yep.
Like, it was the weirdest feeling. I
It
just
was
looked at my
horrible.
husband when I got out, like got to the patio door, and I just said, I'm in trouble. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So he grabs my stuff and takes me out the side gate and into the parking ramp. And by the time we get to the car, I'm already vomiting.
And it takes a while for it to wear off.
Yeah.
Like far too long, in my opinion. It's terrifying. I remember laying there in my bed when I got home, and my guy friends, were out in the living room watching TV, sports, whatever they were doing, talking. And I remember just laying there thinking, like, thank God that I am safe. Because the feeling of not being able to move anything, but I'm completely
Aware.
Yeah. Was terrifying.
Yep.
So I just, there's stuff like that where I don't know. There were a few situations that I found myself in where we were always with the buddy system, but sometimes people are a little bold.
I have it in here. At some point, we're going to do an episode on date rape drugs. Bring some awareness to that, because there's a lot more than I thought there were.
Oh, yeah. I will never leave a drink alone. I will just carry it with me to the dance floor.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Is that on your back? Sorry.
Can I get a lid for this?
I need a lid. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in again to Crisis and Consequences. Make sure you guys subscribe so you never miss an episode. And like I always say, leave us a 5-star review. That helps people find us. It rises us up to the top. And then if you have a story or tip or comments, anything, just email us at hello@crisisandconsequences.com. And that's the same for our socials. You can find us on all the platforms. And
And if you're a weirdo who likes to dig into source material, that'll all be on the show notes for you, too. So,
all right. Until next week. Thank you.
bye, everybody.